But you know how, Penny, in the beginning, when I was saying that sometimes when people listen to the likes of you and other teachers, they say, that that person is just off the wall. That's not possible.
I know.
Right? But over time, though, people do come to realize that, gosh, we're in a world of all possibilities, which we really are. And I remember one of the experiences I had when before I was anywhere near awake or aware of anything that's going on in the bigger picture. I mean, when I think back of how totally ignorant, perhaps still am, how ignorant I was then. But
no, he was just in his lower chakras.
Yeah.
But however, I remember, I'm not sure if I told you this story before, but very quickly, I was running a bed and breakfast in Ireland.
No.
And there was this Dutchman came, and sitting down at breakfast, he said to me, do you know you have a vortex on your land? And I said,
what's a vortex?
What was going on in my head was, we got this crazy guy here, let's give him breakfast and get him out of here real quick.
Get him out of the way.
crazy character, right? He said, I'm going to go out and check them out, and I'll let you know later on what happens. So with that, he left anyway, and I was intrigued by it though. And I remember I went with my nephew, and we walked around. We only had 5 acres at the time, but it was beautiful land in a place in Wicklow, what they call the Garden of Ireland. So it's beautiful land. And I remember arriving at a part where I could feel this wall of energy. And like, this was very foreign to me now, I have to say. It's very alien to me. Like, I felt you were walking into this veil, like it wasn't there with your eyes, but it was clearly there energetically. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then when you walked through it, it was gone. Do you know what I'm saying? And then I thought, like, we were talking amongst ourselves, myself and my nephew, and we're saying, like, let's walk back that way again. Like, for real, Yeah. And so we walked back, and sure enough, in this one spot, there was this sensation of actually pulling down. It was a sensation of pulling down. You felt yourself being pulled down. And so excited with that, we said, well, let's walk around some more. Now, you're talking about being guided to a property, because we were guided to buy that property, there's no doubt. But anyway, so we walked over and back like crisscross, so we didn't miss a square inch of the land. And eventually we came to this spot, same thing. It was like a wall of energy, but this time the sensation was that it was like a wind, an energetic wind that was coming up.
You talk about something and recall it, you become that to memorize something or remember something. It's to enter that same energy. So watch out.
How I remember it so clearly was because I talk about being in the lower chakras. I likened it to that image of Marilyn Monroe, where she's standing on the grate and the hot air is coming up under her skirt.
Like
sensation of seriously energy coming up, like lifting us up. And like, I was astonished by that. There was no physical explanation for it. And then we found one more, and the third one was where it went both ways. There was this sensation of, whoa, you're going up, you're going down. It was like the energy was flowing both ways. And so that guy came back afterwards, and he said, yes, you have these 3 vortexes on your land, but he said there are others close by. He said, I wouldn't be surprised if you were to walk into the woods over here that you'd find others. Now, quickly, what happened was we did go into the woods and we walked it the same way. And sure enough, we found this place where the same sensation was going on. There was this sensation of energy. But what was crazy about this was we discovered afterwards that was the exact place where the Christians who were being punished by the British in Ireland at the time. Catholics couldn't practice their religion, right? So they had to go underground, metaphorically speaking. They had to go into hiding, and they used to say mass
in the woods
at this place called the Mass Rock. And it's exactly where this vortex was. So, like, they knew of these places,
Yeah.
It just had to merge it into Christianity, you know, that
Yeah.
this was pagan beliefs. And obviously those ancient peoples were very aware of these places. So when you talk about portals, like, I wouldn't be surprised. And for anybody listening, you know, be aware they could be everywhere and anywhere.
Yeah, they are. They are anywhere and everywhere. That whole sensitivity that we've lost, we've kind of got dumbed down, and we've got, you know, bad diets. If you don't have the energies, it's hard to sense some of that stuff. So it's really important that people understand we've kind of lowered our frequencies a little bit, and it's an effort to raise them up. It's some work. It isn't magical thinking. It isn't, you know, people say, well, how do you do that? I'm like, oh, I don't know, you know, I just do it. It's natural, it's automatic. And I think we start out as children knowing how to do some of that stuff. And we either get distracted, or we, you know, we just stop and never start up again. You have to, I think there's something to that saying, you have to get born again. You know, have to go back to a childlike perception, not be so cynical. So, yeah.
So Penny, along with this potential micronova, what about the rest of the stuff, like changes on the planet? Like what's actually going on with the sun right now? Because people are feeling the energies of the sun.
Yeah, I think we're seeing the sun, the charge is accumulating right now. Now the sun will swell as we get closer and closer to the date. It gets really pretty big. Right now, if you have an eclipse, a lunar eclipse, the whole sun gets blocked out. And during a micronova, or during the period before the micronova, when the sun has swollen, that lunar eclipse is not, the moon is not big enough to block out the whole sun. And so there's a moment where it kind of looks like a white sidewall tire. There's a white rim all the way around the moon. And so that's one of the signs. Another thing is that the sun changes color. It used to be much more yellow. A couple of people have said it's tending to shade back toward yellow, but I haven't seen that yet.
Much whiter now. We've seen that.
Ahonu's noticed that it looks a lot whiter. And certainly the light seems to be a lot more intense for me.
The light seems to be, you know what it reminds me of? I've been on stage. I used to do opera and operetta, and musicals and things like that. I loved that. And even though I was a terrible actress, but I could sing. And that lighting reminds me of stage lighting, just this glaring stage lighting that is awful.
Interesting.
So,
I know, and it seems to be there no matter if the sky is cloudy or if the sun is out. I mean, I'm constantly having to close my curtains, shield my eyes, because it's too intense for me.
You belong in Aruba, I swear.
I do. I do belong in Aruba or somewhere tropical. I keep saying, where's my ship? Come on, I'm doing.
Or, you know, Ecuador. Have you ever been to Ecuador? Oh, my. Oh, my. Vilcabamba. It's the valley of the ancient ones, the valley of the people who live to be 160 years old. And it has, every day is 80 degrees and every night is about 65. And that's the temperature all year round. The sun comes up at 6:30 in the morning, goes down at 6:30 at night, because you're right on the equator. You don't get the kind of long day and long night all year round.
Sorry, but
I
get that same thing.
Sorry about that.
They love their Baba. You know, from the time they were little, they named him. They never called him Grandpa. They always called him Baba.
And there you go.
And he is Baba to them for sure. You know, they just adore him. And they just made up a name for me and called me May, which I love. I absolutely love it. It turns out it's French for grandmother.
But, you're right. I didn't think of that.
So I know, because I do think of my kids through this whole process, and everybody in my family quite a distance away. You know, one daughter's 12 hours, the other one's 19, the other one's 8. And
well, then it wouldn't be a big shift if you were to go to Aruba, Jamaica. You know, they would probably come and visit you every
probably would.
winter.
True.
Yeah.
Well, you know, many people asked Aingeal Rose over the years, and I think some of them were like looking forward, thinking forward in terms of if there were earth changes, significant earth, where's the safest place to be? This was their question. And Aingeal Rose in the Akashic Records answered, the safest place is with your family, wherever that is.
Yeah,
be with your
right.
family. And I thought there was a lot to be said for that, because otherwise you're entering into fear about, you know, I better go to.
Well, unfortunately, the problem with that is one wants to live in San Diego and the
Yeah.
other one wants to live in.
That's the problem.
You know, they don't all want to live in the same places.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
time, I feel like it's time. We're coming up upon the time
Yeah.
where everybody needs to be where they need to be. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have looked, I have looked a couple of times to see what's thriving a while down the road. So hands down, every single time, you know what comes up is Brazil. Brazil is absolutely thriving. The US is toast. Western Europe is not good. Chaos, a lot of destruction, a lot of death. There's just a lot of energy and people, and the center of the world appears to be Brazil when you get a few years down the road. So
interesting.
And what's the climate like in Brazil?
Get kind of warm, okay?
Yeah.
But if you are in the hills, number one, or like Vilcabamba, which is also in the hills, the temperature is absolutely steady. You know, one of my ET friends said, I was asking, well, where do you think I should be? And they said, in the tropics. There is no place on planet Earth that allows you to focus on consciousness and the development of consciousness like living in the tropics, because in the north, you are constantly working to buy fuel for heating. You are caught indoors. You are out of nature for half of the year. If you're in the desert, same thing, except it's the summer. That is so miserable. And they said it's the tropics, and I was just it's like, that's a long way from where I am in Michigan.
Yes.
So,
well, maybe we should take your trip, Penny.
I have to say, there have been times when I've thought, I'm going to end up somewhere south, and I'm not sure exactly where, but I am so not wanting to be in Michigan at this point in time. So
yeah. Okay, well, look, we've covered a huge amount of stuff here in the time that we have available, and I think that I really hope it's helpful to people. I know from previous conversations that we've had some very good feedback, but we also get some negatives, you know, where people said, you guys are crazy, you know, you're off the wall.
Oh, there's trolls. Just ignore them.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say to you. What is the best advice for people who want to stay in that place that they're familiar with, their comfort zone, you know?
Yeah. Let them have at it, right, Penny?
What's that?
Let them have at it.
Yeah, do have at it, you know, stay where you want to be, but by gosh, develop your consciousness, because I think that's the pivot point. If my original thinking with the idea of develop the consciousness was, what if 6 billion of us got together and communicated to the sun? What effect could we have? That's a heck of a lot. I remember a long time ago, I had a conversation with Jim. I was married, and he was talking about overpopulation and the people, and nobody was happy, and it was miserable, and there were too many people, and blah, blah, blah. And so I was talking with some of my people and mentioned, well, how do we get the population under control? And the response was not what I expected. It was no, don't eliminate your population, any of you. You need as much consciousness as you can gather for what's coming. Never said what was coming.
Yeah.
Just you need that bulk consciousness. And I thought, for what?
Yeah.
So now I look at that and think, is that to counter or to balance or to match the power of that sun, that star, to have an impact of our own, what, you know?
Interesting.
So develop your consciousness, guys.
Yeah.
Don't panic.
Yeah, hard not to panic.
Good
though,
advice.
and when that kind of stuff's coming down, though, isn't it?
I did panic the first few months. It was like, what's the point? You know, it's useless. We're going down, you know, that kind of thinking. And after a while, you know, my Irish sort of stood up and said, hell too, you know, I'm not going down without a fight. And
that Irish is still very evident with you, Penny. That red hair.
That's why we
she's
love
fiery. She's going all the way.
I know. Like, no way, Jose. You know, I didn't come here to get wiped out by the light.
Right.
So,
yes. Yeah.
Have you been to Egypt yourself?
Never. Not physically.
I know, and I wanted to go all my life, and there'd be times where I want to go and then I don't. And I haven't. It's only been recently that I feel like they've said to me, the time you need to plan a trip. Now you got to go, you know? So I feel like I just need to walk among the halls or be on the land or something, you know?
I do.
Because I'm not a big one for climbing up millions of stairs and stuff like that. But I could get a lot just by being there. So we're looking at what, next November, maybe, possibly, when it's cool.
Okay.
Because it's been getting hotter and hotter there, you know. It used to be you could safely go in October, and now it's still very hot in October. So
yeah. Well, I don't know. There might be too much chaos this coming November.
you think so?
There's some difficulties that are coming, but I have also been told, just sit tight. You have some traveling to do in the future. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready when you are. But my instructions have been stay off of airplanes. They are taking them down, and the new transportation system is not up yet. And I'm like, okay. All right.
Yes. So can you share with us anything they told you is what's coming?
Just that there's it doesn't look like the election goes well. And the claim by a lot of people in the government is, oh, we can't declare who the winners are because it's too uncertain. Too many people didn't get to vote. All kinds of interference in that. And then it's pretty dark. It looks like it's pretty dark in November and December. And then I have moved ahead. I went looking to see, well, what's it like if it's that bad in November and December. Let's go to February. And everything was quiet. And I thought, okay, what happened? So I'm backing up, looking for a turning point. And it looked like there was a coup, like somebody in the military, a small group, stood up and said, that's enough.
Right.
That's enough. They took over. All of the jokesters were gone. The bad actors, whatever you want to call them. The idiots that pretend they're running the country. They were gone. And it was, and we were just barely in recovery, just barely getting to take a breath.
But that's not a bad thing, Penny. I mean, that's something that would happen. Sure, it's frightening in the moment, but that's what I feel too. I feel that the future is brighter, even though it's hard to see, you know, under the present circumstances.
Agreed.
So I guess the question is, with the bad actors, who exactly, Biden or Trump? Only because I've got family that are on one side and I've got people
Yeah.
who are on the other, and I'm just kind of, right there. I don't really,
Yeah.
I don't engage either way. So
It looks like the whole crowd in Washington that's currently in Washington. Now, I've tried to see Trump. Is he coming back? Every time I look, it's like, no, no, no. And so just recently when I was doing my look-see, and I did not put this in the look-see, it was like, okay, is Trump coming back? What are we going to have to deal with there? Because there's people who don't want to see him come back. And what I saw was that there was nothing to come back to. The US is gone. Trump is not coming back in the way that we think. And if he does, it falls apart. It looks like there is like Martin Armstrong says, and I've been seeing this for like a decade, that there is a global civil war happening. It starts next January, February, even though it's quiet. What's happening under the surface is that some of the bad actors are still trying to pull stuff. People have absolutely hit the wall. And the few attempts, I mean, everybody's fighting everybody for the same reason you just said, Aingeal, because some thought it was Biden's fault, some thought it was Trump's fault, and now they're fighting each other, trying to, prove that their side was right. And it's a moot point. We're not going back to what
you are absolutely right about it being a moot point. In fact, there was stuff came in my mailbox this morning, and I had exactly that thought, that look at all this petty bickering that's going on politically and economically, in all kinds of ways, business and greed, and there's few enough people. Talk about growth in consciousness. There's few enough people that are willing to step above it. And I found myself getting some peace and comfort from considering the bigger picture and looking above it all. Like almost that, not sticking your head in the sand. It's good to be aware of what's going on, but at the same time,
there's so much more going on.
There's so much more going on a bigger scale.
That's right.
Exactly. Yes.
I see that big picture. It's hard for me to get caught up in the petty stuff, but people do. And I'm like, why are you wasting your energy arguing about that? So,
Tell her about the man the guy we were going to ask her about if she'd heard of him.
Oh, yeah. We came across a guy by the name of Rico Paganini. And we had never heard of him before. And doing a little bit of research on him, he seems to be quite clued in to what's going on in the bigger picture. But interesting.
He's not a musician?
No, I know it's not.
There's somebody
Okay.
No, that's not him.
Okay. It's one of my favorite pieces.
Even though he's got an Italian name, I think he's actually German. Now, I could be wrong because we don't know. He's just new in our awareness.
Is it Paganini or Braganini?
Paganini with a P.
With a P.
Yeah. And, but
done a lot of research on the pyramids and power spots around the world. And
he's done a lot of retreats to all these different power spots all over the world, which is interesting. But one thing that I was surprised at was that the numbers on his YouTube page and various other online media, they weren't that high. Like I would have considered somebody who has that kind of awareness and has done all these kinds of retreats has not much of a following. Now,
he probably does.
He probably does, but I'm talking about the social media that gets squashed. Yeah.
But
I wondered if you had heard of him.
What's his website?
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, but he's all about creating the new earth.
Yes.
He's all about moving into this new earth and creating it. And
we put a note on.
We bought his books today because we found them.
Very good.
He's got 3 main books he's got out, so we're going to do some exploring. But
I'll have to check it out.
We'll send you the link to his website when we get off.
I will check it out. Yeah.
Good. Okay.
All right. We love you. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure.
Keep doing what you're doing because you're growing younger by the day.
You are.
I love that. Okay. All right. You guys take care of yourself.
And thank you so much for your knowledge and your wisdom. We appreciate it so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for your presence here.
To
Chin up, Aingeal. Chin up.
Yeah, right.
It is a big job. It is a very big job. So thank you to everybody listening. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hope you enjoyed that discussion with Penny. Do leave your comments below and we will respond. Thank you very much.
You can subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and on our website at worldofempowerment.com.
Don't miss an episode. Hit the subscribe button now.